La 26. 27-45. Starting the count of years with the entry of the Israelites into the Promised Land, their first Jubilee year began in Tishri of 1424 BCE. La 25. 2-4, 8-10 Between the time of entering the Promised Land in 1473 BCE and the fall of Jerusalem in 607 BCE, the Israelites were obligated to celebrate 17 Jubilees. But it is a sad commentary on their history that they did not appreciate Jehovah as their king. They eventually violated his commands, including the Sabbath laws, and suffered the loss of the blessings he arranged for them. Their failure brought reproach on God before the nations of the world and hindered them from realizing the excellence of his theocratic government. 2ch 36. 20-21. Symbolic meaning. There are allusions to the Jubilee arrangement in the Christian Greek scriptures. Jesus Christ said he came to preach a release to the captives. 4. 16-18 He later said with regard to liberation from bondage to sin, if the Son sets you free, you will be actually free. Job 8. 36 Because Spirit-anointed Christians were declared righteous for life and were begotten as sons of God beginning with Pentecost of 33 CE, the Apostle Paul could thereafter write, the law of that Spirit which gives life in union with Christ Jesus has set you free from the law of sin and of death. Row 8. 2 During Christ's 1,000-year reign, others, too, as indicated at Romans 8. 19-21, will be set free from enslavement to corruption and, after proving their loyalty to Jehovah under test, will have the glorious freedom of the children of God. They will be liberated from inborn sin and from the death to which it leads. The custody of the earth itself will be returned to true worshippers, to be cared for in harmony with Jehovah's original purpose for mankind. Re 21. 4. Ge 1. 28. Issa 65. 21-25. Jukal a shortened form of Jukal, meaning Jehovah is able. Jehovah prevails. Son of Shelemiah. One of the princes of Judah who asked that the prophet Jeremiah be executed for weakening the hands of the warriors. Je 38. 1-4. Judah lauded. Object of laudation. 1. Jacob's fourth son by his wife Leah. Ge 29. 35. 1ch 2. 1 After spending about 9 years of his life at Haradon in Padanaram, Judah was taken with all of Jacob's household to Canaan. Compare Ge 29. 4, 5, 32-35. 30. 9-12, 16-28. 31. 17, 18, 41. Subsequently he resided with his father at Succoth and then at Shechem. After his sister Dinah was violated by Hamor's son, and Simeon and Levi had avenged her by killing all the males of Shechem, Judah evidently shared in plundering the city. Ge 33. 17, 18. 34. 1, 2, 25-29. Relationship to Joseph. In the course of time, because Jacob favored him, Joseph came to be hated by Judah and his other half-brothers. Their hatred intensified after Joseph related 2 dreams that pointed to his becoming their superior. Therefore, when Jacob sent Joseph to check on his half-brothers as they cared for the flocks, they, upon seeing him from a distance, plotted to kill him. But at the suggestion of Reuben, who had in mind saving Joseph's life, they pitched him into a dry water pit. Ge 37. 2-24. Thereafter, as a caravan of Ishmaelites came into view, Judah, apparently in Reuben's absence, convinced the others that, instead of murdering Joseph, it would be better to sell Otex to Acute Longo, Judah 124 second son, Onan, to perform brother-in-law marriage. But Onan, although having relations with Tamar, wasted his semen on the earth so as not to give offspring to his brother. For this Jehovah also slew him. Judah then recommended that Tamar return to her father's house and wait until Shelah matured. Yet, even after Shelah had grown up, Judah, seemingly reasoning that his youngest son might die, did not give him in marriage to Tamar. Ge 38. 6-11, 14. Therefore, subsequent to Judah's becoming a widower, Tamar, on learning that her father-in-law was going to Timnah, disguised herself as a prostitute, and then seated herself at the entrance of Enaim on the road Judah would be traversing. Not recognizing his daughter-in-law and assuming her to be a prostitute, Judah had relations with her. When it later came to light that Tamar was pregnant, Judah demanded that she be burned as a harlot. But upon the presentation of the evidence that he himself had made her pregnant, Judah exclaimed, "She's more righteous than I am, for the reason that I did not give her to Shelah my son." Thus unwittingly Judah had taken the place of Shelah in fathering legal offspring. Some 6 months later Tamar gave birth to the twins Perez and Zerah. Judah had no further relations with her. GE 38. 12-30. To Egypt for food. Sometime later reports reached famine-stricken Canaan that food was available in Egypt. Consequently, at Jacob's direction, 10 of his sons, including Judah, went there for food. At this time their half-brother Joseph was serving as Egypt's food administrator. Whereas Joseph immediately knew them, they did not recognize him. Joseph accused them of being spies and warned them not to return without Benjamin, whom they mentioned in denying that they were spies. Joseph also had one of his half-brothers, Simeon, bound and held as a hostage. GE 42. 1-25. Understandably, Jacob, presuming that he had lost both Joseph and Simeon, was unwilling to let Benjamin accompany his other sons to Egypt. Reuben's emotional statement that Jacob could put his own 2 sons to death if he did not return Benjamin carried insufficient weight, perhaps because he had proved himself to be unreliable by violating his father's concubine. GE 35. 22 Finally Judah succeeded in getting his father's consent by promising to be surety for Benjamin. GE 42. 36-38. 43. 8-14. Homeward bound, after having bought cereals in Egypt, Jacob's sons were overtaken by Joseph's steward and accused of theft, actually a ruse by Joseph. When the supposedly stolen item was found in Benjamin's bag, the men returned and entered Joseph's house. It was Judah who then answered the charge and eloquently and earnestly pleaded in behalf of Benjamin and for the sake of his father, requesting that he be constituted a slave in Benjamin's stead. So moved was Joseph by Judah's sincere plea that he could no longer control his emotions. Thereafter, alone with his brothers, Joseph identified himself. After pardoning them for having sold him into slavery, Joseph instructed his half-brothers to get Jacob and then return to Egypt, as the famine was to continue for 5 more years. GE 44. 1. 45. 13. Later, as Jacob and his entire household neared Egypt, Jacob sent Judah in advance of him to Joseph to impart information ahead of him to Goshen. GE 46. 28. Superior among his brothers. By his concern for his aged father and his noble effort to preserve Benjamin's freedom at the cost of his own, Judah proved himself to be superior among his brothers. 1 Ch 5. 2 No longer was he the Judah who in his youth had shared in plundering the Shechemites and who had been party to wronging his half-brother Joseph and then deceiving his own father. His fine qualities of leadership entitled Judah, as one of the heads of the 12 tribes of Israel, to receive a superior prophetic blessing from his dying father. GE 49. 8-12 Its fulfillment is considered below. O text to acute miritra longo, Judah 125 share in conquering the land allotted to Judah. The tribe itself was divinely designated to take the lead in the fight against the Canaanites, and it did so in association with the Simeonites. New 13. 6, 30. 14. 6-10, 38. Jos 14. 6-14. 15. 13-20. JG 1. 1-20. Compared to 33. 7. Later, Judah, again on the basis of divine authorization, led the punitive military action against Benjamin. JG 20. 18. Judah's inheritance. The territory allotted to the tribe of Judah was bounded by Benjamite and Onite territories on the end. Jos 15. 5-11. 18. 11. The Salt Sea Dead Sea on the E. Jos 15. 5. And the Great Sea Mediterranean on the W. Jos 15. 12. the S-boundary appears to have extended in a southwesterly direction from the southernmost point of the Dead Sea to the ascent of Akrabim. Proceeding from there, it continued over to Zin, ran northward near Kadesh Barnea, and finally crossed over to the Mediterranean by way of Hezron, Adda, Karka, Asman, and the Torrent Valley of Egypt. Jos 15. 1-4 The portion of this territory centering primarily around Beersheba was assigned to the Simeonites. Jos 19. 1-9 The Kenates, a non-Israelite family related to Moses by marriage, also began residing in Judean territory. JG 1. 16. Several distinct natural regions were within the assigned boundaries of ancient Judah. The Negev, much of which is a plateau between 450 and 600 meters, 1,500 and 2,000 feet above sea level, lies to the east along the Mediterranean stretches the plain of Philistia, with its sand dunes that sometimes penetrate the shore for as much as 6 kilometers 3.5 mi. In early times this rolling plain was a region of vineyards, olive groves, and grain fields. JG 15. 5 Just east of it rises a hilly area, cleft by numerous valleys, that attains an altitude of about 450 meters, 1,500 feet above sea level in the east. This is the Shephelah meaning lowland, a region anciently covered with sycamore trees. 1 Chi 10. 27 It is a lowland when compared with the mountainous region of Judah, which lies farther to the east and has elevations varying from about 600 to more than 1,000 meters, 2,000 to 3,300 feet above sea level. The barren hills occupying the eastern slope of the Judean mountains constitute the wilderness of Judah. Under the leadership of Joshua, the power of the Canaanites had apparently been broken in the territory given to Judah. However, since evidently no garrisons were established, the original inhabitants appear to have returned to such cities as Hebron and Debir, probably while the Israelites were warring elsewhere. Therefore, these places had to be recaptured. Compare Jos 12. 7, 10, 13. JG 1. 10-15. But the inhabitants of the lower plain, with their well-equipped chariotry, were not dispossessed. This doubtless included the Philistines of Gath and Ashdod. Jos 13. 2, 3. JG 1. 18, 19. From the Judges to Saul. During the turbulent period of the Judges, Judah, like the other tribes, repeatedly fell victim to idolatry. Therefore, Jehovah allowed surrounding nations, particularly the Ammonites and the Philistines, to make inroads on the territory of Judah. JG 10. 6-9 In Samson's day, not only had the Judeans lost whole control over the Philistine cities of Gaza, Ekron, and Ashkelon, but the Philistines had actually become their overlords. JG 15. 9-12 Apparently not until Samuel's time was Judean territory recovered from the Philistines. 1-7. 10-14. After Saul of the tribe of Benjamin was anointed by Samuel as Israel's first king, the Judeans fought loyally under his leadership. 1-11. 5-11. 15. 3. Most frequent were the battles against the Philistines. 1-14. 52. Who again seemed to have got the upper hand over the Israelites. 1-13. 19-22 But gradually their power was reduced. With Jehovah's help, Saul and his son Jonathan gained victories over them in the area extending from Michmash to Ajalon. 1-13. 23. 14. 23, 31 When the Philistines later invaded Judah, they again suffered defeat. O text to acute miritra longo. Judah 126 Abner, defected to David. Not long thereafter Ishbosheth was murdered. 2-2. 1-4, 8, 9. 3. 1. 4. 12. When David subsequently gained the kingship over all Israel, the sons of Jacob, that is, all the tribes of Israel, lorded Judah and prostrated themselves to his representative as ruler. Therefore, David was also able to move against Jerusalem, though it was basically in Benjamite territory and, after capturing the stronghold of Zion, to make it his capital. For the most part David conducted himself in a commendable way. So through him, the tribe of Judah was lauded for such qualities as justice and righteousness, and also for its services to the nation, including the maintenance of national security, as Jacob had foretold in his deathbed blessing. The hand of Judah was truly on the back of his enemies as David subdued the Philistines, who had twice sought to overthrow him as king in Zion, as well as the Moabites, Syrians, Edomites, Amalekites, and Ammonites. Thus, under David, Israel's boundaries were at last extended to their God-ordained limits. G 49. 8-12. 2 Sa 5. 1-10, 17-25. 8. 1-15. 12. 29-31. By reason of the everlasting covenant for a kingdom made with David, the tribe of Judah possessed the scepter and the commander's staff for 470 years. G 49. 10. 2 Sa 7. 16. But only during the reigns of David and Solomon was there a united kingdom, with all the tribes of Israel prostrating themselves before Judah. On account of Solomon's apostatizing toward the close of his reign, Jehovah ripped 10 tribes away from the next Judean king, Rehoboam, and gave these to Jeroboam. 1 Kings 11. 31-35. 12. 15-20. Only the Levites and the tribes of Benjamin and Judah remained loyal to the house of David. 1 Kings 12. 21. 2 Ch 13. 9, 10. 3. Judah as a kingdom, including the tribe of Benjamin. 2 Ch 25. 5. After Solomon's death the other 10 tribes formed an independent kingdom under the Ephraimite Jeroboam. Not long thereafter, in the 5th year of Rehoboam, Egypt's king Shishak invaded the kingdom of Judah as far as Jerusalem and captured fortified cities en route. 1 Kings 14. 25, 26. 2 Ch 12. 2-9. For a period of some 40 years during the reigns of Judean kings Rehoboam, Abijam, Abijah, and Asa, repeated conflicts occurred between the kingdoms of Judah and Israel. 1 Kings 14. 30. 15. 7, 16. But Asa's successor Jehoshaphat had formed a marriage alliance with wicked King Ahab of Israel. While this meant peace between the two kingdoms, the marriage of Jehoshaphat's son Jehoram to Ahab's daughter Athaliah proved to be disastrous for Judah. Under Athaliah's influence, Jehoram became guilty of rank apostasy. During his reign the Philistines and the Arabs invaded Judah and took captive and killed all of his sons except Joahaz, the youngest. When Ahaziah became king, he likewise followed the directives of wicked Athaliah. After Ahaziah's violent death, Athaliah killed all the royal offspring. But, undoubtedly by divine providence, the infant Jehoash, rightful heir to the throne of David, was hidden and therefore survived. Meanwhile the usurper Athaliah ruled as queen until her execution at the command of high priest Shahada. 2 Ch 18. 1. 21. 1, 5, 6, 16, 17. 22. 1-3, 9-12. 23. 13-15. Though his reign started out well, Jehoash departed from true worship after the death of high priest Shahada. 2 Ch 24. 2, 17, 18. Jehoash's son, Amaziah, likewise failed to continue in a righteous course. During his reign, after years of peaceful coexistence, the 10-tribe kingdom and the kingdom of Judah again met in battle, with the latter suffering a humiliating defeat. 2 Ch 25. 1, 2, 14-24. With the exception of his invading the sanctuary, the next Judean king, Uzziah, did what was right in Jehovah's eyes. His successor Jotham proved to be a faithful king. But Jotham's son Ahaz became notorious for practicing large-scale idolatry. 2 Ch 26. 3, 4, 16-20. 27. 1, 2. 28. 1-4. During Ahaz's reign Judah suffered otextoi acute muritra longo. Judah 127 took religious reforms. 2 Ch 33. 10-16. But his son Amin reverted to idolatry. 2 Ch 33. 21-24. The last sweeping campaign against idolatry came during the reign of Amin's son Josiah. However, it was then too late for genuine repentance to be effected among the people in general. Therefore, Jehovah decreed the complete desolation of Judah and Jerusalem. Finally, Josiah himself was killed in an attempt to turn the Egyptian forces back at Megiddo as they were on their way to assist the king of Assyria at Carchemish. 2 Kai 22. 1. 23. 30. 2 Ch 35. 20. The last four Judean kings, Joahaz, Joachim, Joachim, and Zedekiah proved to be bad rulers. Pharaoh Necho deposed Joahaz, laid a heavy fine on the land of Judah, and made Joahaz's brother Joachim king. 2 Kai 23. 31-35 Later, apparently after 8 years of his reign, Joachim was made a vassal to Nebuchadnezzar the king of Babylon, who had earlier defeated the Egyptians at Carchemish. For 3 years Joachim served the king of Babylon but then rebelled. 2 Kai 24. 1. Jah 46. 2 Thereafter Nebuchadnezzar, evidently intending to take the rebellious king as a prisoner to Babylon, came against Jerusalem. 2 Ch 36. 6 However, Joachim never was taken to Babylon, for he died in a manner not disclosed in the Bible. Subsequently Joachim became king. After ruling for only 3 months and 10 days, he voluntarily surrendered to Nebuchadnezzar and, along with other members of the royal family and thousands of his subjects, went into Babylonian exile. Then Nebuchadnezzar placed Joachim's uncle, Zedekiah, on the throne of Judah. 2 Kai 24. 6, 8-17. 2 Ch 36. 9, 10. In his 9th year as vassal king, Zedekiah rebelled and looked to Egypt's military might for support against Babylon. 2 Kai 24. 18. 25. 1. 2 Ch 36. 11-13. S 17. 15-21 Nebuchadnezzar, therefore, marched his armies toward Judah. For 18 months Jerusalem was subjected to siege until its walls were finally breached. Although Zedekiah fled, he was captured, his sons were slaughtered before him, and he was then blinded. The next month most of the survivors were taken into exile. Over the few remaining lowly people of Judah, Gedaliah was appointed as governor. But following his assassination, the people fled to Egypt. Thus in the 7th month of 607 BCE the land of Judah was completely desolated. 2 Kai 25. 1-26. For details see articles on the individual kings. Rulership not lost. This calamitous end for the kingdom of Judah, however, did not mean that the scepter and commander's staff had departed from the tribe for all time. According to Jacob's deathbed prophecy, the tribe of Judah was to produce the permanent royal heir, Zalo meaning he whose it is. He to whom it belongs. Ge 49. 10 Appropriately, therefore, before the overthrow of the kingdom of Judah, Jehovah, through Ezekiel, directed these words to Zedekiah. Remove the turban, and lift off the crown. This will not be the same. Put on high even what is low, and bring low even the high one. A ruin I shall make it. As for this also, it will certainly become no one's until he comes who has the legal right, and I must give it to him. As 21. 26, 27 The one having the legal right, as indicated by the angel Gabriel's announcement to the Virgin Jewess Mary some 600 years later, is none other than Jesus, the Son of God. 1. 31-33 It is, therefore, fitting that Jesus Christ bears the title the Lion that is of the tribe of Judah. 5. Compared with the northern kingdom, the kingdom of Judah enjoyed far greater stability